Okay, wait. So what is so smart dumb is like when it's seems dumb, but it's smart.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
stuff.
okay.
It's smart dumb is when
Uh-huh.
it's like often like a genre space, a space that's not normally considered like where it's not a space that's normally considered like highbrow, but it's
Right, right, right.
actually done with like the care and intentionality necessary to like, and you're like, oh, this is actually, I mean, okay, so like again, like and maybe it's somewhat pejorative, right? But like it's when you get like Lethal Weapon 3. I would that might just be dumb dumb. Um I'm trying to think of like, a lot of
You
times,
said Sex in the City. Sex in the City is like it appears dumb, but it's actually smart.
yeah,
It appears to just be like a gossipy, like privileged women who are single, figuring out their relationships, whatever in New
yeah,
York
though
City. But it's actually like this one, like really.
the problem with Sex and the City, though, that's complicated, is that it's on HBO. And actually, there was a huge conspiracy to keep
Mhm.
men away from, like, straight men away from watching Sex and the City. And it was maybe the best, it was like one of the best comedies on in like the late 90s, early 2000s. Like, it's
Okay.
so funny and it's so good. And I only watch it because my wife likes Sex in the City, and then I like talk about it to my
You
friends,
don't have to
and
clarify that. You don't
they're
have to
like,
clarify that.
yeah, I mean, but I talk to my friends, and they're like, no, I've never seen Sex in the City. I'm like, why not? And it's just like that unconscious, like, oh, I thought it wasn't for me. Like I didn't.
Yeah, yeah,
No one,
no, but I'm
no one like put
yeah,
like you're just like naively like, oh, it's not for me.
yeah, but that
That
that was
sucks.
also like a time period where it was like things were just like more conservative during that time, I think. The early 2000s were like probably some of the most conservative, like
Yeah, in many ways,
yeah,
yeah,
socially conservative time like in the last like what like since I'm like really in the last like 50 years probably. Like,
yeah. Maybe
you
parts of
know.
the '80s, right? But
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it
yeah.
was pretty. I mean, no, yeah, you couldn't
We still
like when
like
I was in high
yeah.
school, you couldn't admit that you watched Sex in the City.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
Yeah, yeah,
full
for
stop.
sure. Yeah. I have a well, yeah. Yeah, actually I have a friend who told me this anecdote and I will like not give a number of details, but who basically yeah, was like made fun of because they had mentioned something in high school about something they had seen on the OC
Mm.
as a male. Yeah, yeah, right. But well,
I
apparently
watched the OC.
apparently they just walked by and like seen their sister watching it, and then like later heard something happen. Yeah, well, whatever. But then later heard something happen. Somebody talking about it in high school, and they got made fun of by the other guys. So yeah, it was weird time. Think we're beyond that now. Maybe
I no,
maybe coming back to it. I don't know.
I watched the OC, but I watched it with my female friends in high school.
Yeah. Huh.
Um, I really
Okay.
what was
So yeah. Okay. So
really
what?
quickly
Yeah.
though,
Mm,
because
mm.
so I in college I was lucky enough to study abroad in Ireland. And I, because I was doing this weird, like a lot of times you get stuck with a whole bunch of Americans to try to like have everyone not die. But I was like doing it like through a weird, like music department to music department, like international relations thing.
Exchange.
So they just
Yeah.
shoved me in a dorm of like there's one other American who's doing like a rugby exchange, and then a dorm of just like Irish college students, which was
Okay. Would
madness, like absolute like chaotic madness. Everything you can
sure.
imagine was like true, but
Sure.
they were like very much bros. They were like Irish bros. They would drink 25 beers before going out to the bars. Like it was wild.
Yeah.
And they loved, and they always thought like they weren't
So
like
see?
quite homophobic, but they always thought I was like my sexuality was like a little bit questionable. Like they weren't
Right.
like I
Early.
was an American, so they but like so I had that cultural exchange going like
Mm,
advantage. Like I came from New York,
mm,
but like they weren't sure
right.
about me. Um,
Right.
but they loved One Tree Hill. Loved it.
Wait, that's like the spin-off of
No, it's not a spin-off. It's about basketball, but it's significantly more of a soap opera than the OC is. It's really just about like hot guys with rippling abs, and they could not understand why I thought that was the funniest shit I had ever seen. I'm like, are you guys watching One Tree Hill? Like this is, and they're like, yeah, what's wrong, man? What's wrong? Why can't we watch One Tree Hill? It's got a good story. I'm like, this is too girly for my female friends in America.
right. Funny. Huh. Okay,
Culture,
so One
international
Tree Hill
culture.
was just Dum Dum.
I don't know. I don't remember One Tree Hill well enough. It's
Okay, but not okay, not probably not smart, but maybe we have to go rewatch. Okay, so the World Cup halftime, Dum Dum.
or smart.
Uh, before
Depends what the
we
goal is. Get it?
before we dive into
Pun
that,
intended.
before we dive into that, welcome to another episode of Money for Nothing. We're trying this video thing out.
Kind of not just another episode. We finally capitulated. All you
yeah,
horrible people out there
we've been dragged screaming and kicking into
screaming.
possibly doing video episodes. So here we are.
This is what
Um,
we look like.
and
This is how we
that's how
feel
Sam
about it.
records. He records with a sock over his mic to prevent the pulses from popping too much. Um, yeah, in today's episode, we are going to be doing kind of like a freewheeling sports and music because
Summer of sports,
World
baby.
Cup, summer of sports, a lot of sports going on. I
Well, I
mean,
mean,
sports are
World
always
Cup
going on,
and
but
Knicks.
yeah, well, Knicks. Some people who believe it or not, don't live in New York and actually don't care about the fucking
No,
Knicks. But
everyone cares
yes,
about the Knicks.
as
Everyone cares
someone,
in at a global level.
absolutely not. But this is funny because this is actually not this is not the first time we've actually mentioned the Knicks on this episode. We've had to mention the Knicks on this episode because of James Dolan,
On this,
who
oh, you mean this podcast?
yeah, this podcast because of James Dolan, who owns the Knicks, who also started the Sphere.
Sphere.
Yeah. So he's back, kind of. But no, but yeah, we were just like, let's see we've I don't know summer of sports, right? So we're like, let's do an episode on music and sports. So we were gonna drop this like last week, but then we were like, wait, we got to watch the halftime show of the World Cup because something might happen. Now, this has
Lots
been shrouded in
happen.
controversy. This has been shrouded in controversy. I'm pretty sure this is like the first and I could be wrong. I mean, there's always been performances at the World Cup. I think this might be the first like actual like halftime show, like official halftime show. And about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, they before it happened, they were like, "Oh, Justin Bieber's now playing," and now it's going to be a half an hour, which actually, because that's just what FIFA does. FIFA just does whatever the hell it wants.
It wasn't half an hour.
It was 27 minutes, and normally half times are only 15 minutes. And so it actually, and that's based on the International Football Association, like rule, whatever, IFAB. And they like determine the rules for soccer like worldwide for all kinds of professional soccer. And, yeah, they just basically just like, you know what, we're FIFA, it's World Cup. And we need to add Justin Bieber singing a love song shrouded in some sort of like Christian doctrine. And that's what we're going to do. So,
So it's what's crazy about that is that it's like a material change to a game in which stamina is important, right?
dude, yeah,
Like
yeah,
football, American football,
yeah.
reverse soccer, some call it. Uh, sorry, that's stupid. See, this is the other thing on the video podcast version. You're gonna hear all the shit I say that Saxon painstakingly edits out normally. So we're very
Yeah,
sorry about that. No. But like
no,
in
sorry.
American football, there's like the rate of play is such and the turnovers are such that like much of the team is resting much of the time, all of the time. Half
Right.
the team is
Yeah,
always resting in football.
more than half the team. Yeah, there's like 54 players on like a football team. Yeah,
Oh yeah. No, half of the like people who are actually playing, like the current,
yeah.
you know,
Right, or on the
um,
sidelines. Right.
and so like it actually like makes a difference to like given that like team stamina matters. It makes a difference to like have a
Well,
longer Halftime break.
Yeah, and not to talk about the actual game because we're not sports guys, but it turns out it didn't make a difference. The terrible team lost and continued to play terrible. But anyways, so maybe the game being so terrible as it was is fitting that it got a terrible halftime show. But anyways, yes, it is one of those things where it's like you're like the overall point of which you're making like it is true in the sense that like you're actually like making kind of like almost like a fundamental difference to the actual
Yeah, you're changing
like
the game. It seems
changing the
that
game, right?
that
Which
like
which
as a
which which is like kind of also been characteristic of like FIFA for like this actual World Cup.
the
Um,
hydration breaks, right?
Hydration breaks, which are clearly commercial breaks. Which actually, funny another stat, in 1994 when the U.S. had the World Cup, there was actually commercials in the middle of the game. Yeah, so yeah, which is also kind of funny. But yeah, just that, and then also there was like this controversy about overturning a red card for like a U.S. player, which supposedly was like what Trump claims
A
like
con
he
a
like called.
controversy.
Yeah, he called, yeah, whatever. So I mean, this has been like for that like off field, this
I
has
mean,
been
FIFA is a model
par
of
for the course for
probity and
FIFA.
restraint. That's like what they're known for. They're
Oh
like
yeah, sure, right,
austere
right,
anti-corruption
and yeah, oh yeah, big time, yeah,
stance.
yeah, a lot
It's
of right,
courageous,
exactly,
honestly.
right, totally, yeah, exactly. So this that kind of comes as without a surprise in a lot of ways. So, but yeah, so it's 27 minutes, and okay, like, should we just like run? Okay, I'm gonna just gonna give you my reaction, right? I was sitting with my father watching the game, and I was immediately screaming like from the beginning. I was like, American culture is fucking dead. And like my thing was like, listen, I love Madonna, and if she went on tour, I would definitely try to like make that tour. But like, why are we doing a remix of a song that literally came out, I think, in 1999? And like, and I'm like, and then there's also another aspect of where like the just random like mishmash of like people that are involved. So then after she gets off stage, she's being driven, and this is what you don't know. She's being driven in that van in that like little whatever cart by Ronaldinho and Ronaldo, who are like two former famous Brazilian players,
I
which
did
makes
know
literally
that.
no yeah.
Was confused that this is the point where I learned that there are two Ronaldos.
Well, Ronaldinho and
No, no,
Ronaldo,
no,
and
no.
there's a Cristiano Ronaldo. Oh yeah, right.
I
There's
was
probably more
like,
than
that
one. There's
doesn't
actually
look
more
like
than
Christian Ronaldo.
no,
I'm like,
no,
there's
no, no,
Ronaldo
no,
and there's
no.
Ronaldinho. I knew
Yeah,
that, but I didn't
yeah.
realize that there's one Ronaldo who got the just the last name, and then there's Christian Ronaldo who is like, it'd be like
Maybe keep
if there
that to
was.
yourself for the rest of the podcast. All your confusion about famous sports people.
I mean, look, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I can only be who I am. It'd be like if
No,
there was
truly,
another
truly. Yeah.
guy called like James Prince, and he
No,
was
this is
also an incredibly famous, like gender shifting, boundary breaking pop star, but like from like 15 years later. If the biggest R&B
well,
star of 2005 was also called Prince, everyone would be confused. One would change their name to a symbol.
people who listen to music and pay attention would probably not be confused. But like there is this funny thing though, where like where for example, there's a famous soccer player for Spain from like 2010. The last time they won, last name was Torres, right? On this team, they have a player who has, I think it's his name is Ferran Torres, Ferran. But on his jersey, he puts his first name, so nobody gets confused. No, I
So
don't know
it's
why
a
they did that, but
valid mistake. It's
yeah, yeah. Sometimes they put their first name. No. But anyways, so that happens, and then we get out from under like whatever the tent
well,
is,
hold on.
and then yeah,
Before we go, so it's like Madonna playing a
recreating. No,
song.
wait, hold on. It's Madonna recreating. The song is from the Austin Powers 2, and the video is her dancing in a club like that on stage, and then Austin Powers, Mike Myers, is like looking at her on stage and like having like a sexual like whoa, like she's so hot, and like and so it's literally just recreating that when she starts dancing on the stage.
Though,
That the music video of that.
did you catch the really subtle, and this blew my mind in terms of just like, and we can, if we're thinking about this in like a deep text and all the little referential things, because there's a lot of weird shit about this like very brief show. Um, there was a DJ who was pretending to DJ because that's not what DJ like there he
Right.
it wasn't doing
Right.
anything. A lot of dancers
Right.
doing a
Right.
lot of stuff. DJ not doing anything. And I
Right.
was like,
Right.
why is the DJ here? Until you get
Uh-huh.
a shot of him scratching a record, and the record is Confessions of on a Dance Floor 2, which is
Uh-huh.
Madonna's latest record. So she
Right. Right. Right.
managed
Right.
to
Right.
get, or she or her team or the label or like some like this is I saw that I was like, whoa, this is like this is that real, that deep like media conglomerate like cross,
Right. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this is synergy,
Product
right? This
placement,
isn't
kind of.
fake
Yeah.
synergy. This is real synergy that like you managed to get Madonna's latest album's title clearly visible for a quarter second during the most viewed event globally.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. And
Someone made
like,
their money. Someone made their money for the year with that little placement thing.
so, so for sure. So, like,
Good
I so
dancing.
maybe also maybe that remix is like on the new album or something. I don't know, whatever. But like the theme seems to be like, the big thing about FIFA is like, we unite the world. Everybody gets united around soccer. Everybody gets like, that's a big thing. So I get like music makes the people come together. Okay, so we're having that theme, right? I get it. We go out into from the tent, right? And okay, now we got to represent different parts of the world. So we got BTS coming from Korea, Asia, right? And then we had the Muppets, though.
But
What
like,
in the literal fuck do we have the Muppets for?
so
What is
okay,
like
so
no, no,
so
no. Hold on. No, so now we got like and no ageism here, right? Okay, no ageism here. Okay, but we have like Madonna, who's like a 50-year star or whatever. Tom Cruise, who's like in his 70s. Now we have the Muppets that are from the 1970s. Like there's no one new we can get, and that's why I kind of think they brought out Justin Bieber because like we should get somebody who's like maybe like a like the kids, what the kids like, right? Never mind that
BTS.
he's probably like 35 at this point. Yeah, but BTS is like the representation of like we need like now a world thing, right? So you got BTS from Asia. Later, you had Shakira from Latin, South America, which is her whole. She's actually like a World Cup staple. Burna Boy is from Africa, right? So you have like a representation of all the continents, and so like, okay, I get that, right? But
Australia.
not Australia.
They didn't get
We're at the World
ACDC.
Cup.
They could have had Kylie Minogue, right?
True, true. Yeah, but you get the like basically all the So I think that's what they're trying to bring this all like together, right? But like patchwork put together, like have you ever seen a Super Bowl halftime? Do you want to take some notes? And this is where I feel like I'll pass it on to you because you seem to be the one who suffered it for this podcast through listening to Coldplay. All of this was put together and produced by Chris Martin from Coldplay, which you didn't know. Go ahead. You texted me. You were like, you saw a
I
flag.
so I was okay. So full disclosure, and this is where I'm just like gonna embarrass Saxon, because he can't edit it. Some of us at this who make this podcast were watching the World Cup. Some of us were tailgating a Weird Al concert.
No, that's dope. I'm not talking shit. That's dope. Go
So
to the
I
Weird Al.
watched
I'm
it.
for Weird Al. Pro
I
Weird Al.
watched I watched this insane
American or Canadian? He's
halftime.
Canadian. Is he Canadian? Am I making that up?
I think he's American. He
Anyways.
he played a song called Canadian Idiot, which is pretty funny.
Oh, nice. Well done. Yeah, see.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, continue.
Um yeah, so I watched it the day after the World Cup and was just like live live texting Saxon, just like, what is this? So I did know, I had heard about the Ronaldo and Ronaldinho. What I don't think, and why that was truly miraculous about this halftime overall, was just like, yes, it was pablum. Yes, it was like the decaying, bloated corpse of American culture. But that doesn't get quite at like how inexplicably bad it was, because like there were elements of it that just were like truly bizarre. So Ronaldo and Ronaldinho were so confused. They were just like smiling. The smile of a man
Kind of
who had
like
gotten
checking
paid
out Madonna in
a
a weird way,
lot.
kind of like looking her up and down, like, like it was like so weird.
Well, no,
Yeah.
Madonna, like look.
She's probably like, who the fuck are these guys?
Yeah, no, I mean like yeah, and I was like, I guess it's cool that this is Madonna, but like people who are getting paid a good amount of money for an appearance and we're just kind of gamely smiling through it, like it was really, and then she kind of like held their hands up like they did something when they got out to the field. Okay, so then, and this is the other thing I would say about this event is part of it was inexplicable, and then part of it was just this like set of like maximal shills. So BTS, right, recently all finished their army training or their army
Oh,
service.
right, right. Okay, yeah. Which is
They're
required yeah.
coming out of this like enforced solo careers, enforced or
Right. Okay.
non-enforced. They are about
Right.
to or may have just, but I think are about to embark on a absolutely massive global tour.
Okay.
um I can say are or about to because like nothing that could possibly happen will affect the fact that BTS is going to sell a good an unimaginable number of tickets.
Right,
um
right, right.
and so like this was like them getting their like big global star moment. They're back. We saw see our boys. They still don't sing harmony. uh and like doing their like their dances. And so like that was another like okay,
Kind of. Not really doing any dances. Kind of just
kind
standing
of
in front of like a moving camera,
kind of doing dances, kind of doing
doing the
dances.
doing the like
Yeah, no.
dance. That's
That's
not
a
a
sick
dance.
dance. That's one of my
That's a
best
move.
dance
That's not a
moves. That's a
dance.
sick dance. That's a sick dance, and I will not anyway. So that's another like playing a big hit from a couple years ago. And that's another like okay, big moment. Then they throw it to an orchestra. And this was again back to the inexplicable. An
Oh,
orchestra.
the orchestra. Okay, but the orchestra was cool. That's cool. That was the one. That's the conductor at the New York Philharmonic right now.
Okay.
So that was the one thing where it's like he's cool and he's like okay like my like yeah like I know some people who are like actually I guess this is a thing like pay attention to like conductors and like up and coming conductors and stuff like that and he's like the big shit young conductor now and he's actually in New York and I thought that was cool that they had him. Never mind what was actually happening and the song that they were playing, but like that was I was like, that's cool. He's getting a moment because that was kind of and they actually named him on his back, which I thought was cool. That was
Oh,
like the
that is fun.
one
I missed
thing I
that.
thought was yeah. They actually had his name on the back. I forget his name, but I can look it up. But like he's like the big deal. Like he's a big deal conductor in the conductor world right now. He's young. He's like up and coming. He's at New York Philharmonic. So like that was cool. That I was like, wow, that's you get one thing, Chris Martin. You get that.
So yeah, oh yeah. So that's the other thing. This is Chris Martin, who's like again managed to, and we have to. Have we ever done the full Coldplay episode we
No, no,
promised?
we need to at some point, maybe.
We already did the Imagine Dragons episode, which I felt like was bad enough, but like for real understanding, I mean, because Chris Martin is
Gustavo Dudamel, that's
it,
his name. Yeah, he's from Venezuela too. So
okay, okay.
yeah.
No, but so Chris Martin, right? Like has managed the last uh Chris Martin and Maroon 5, Coldplay Maroon 5, like their last, I would call them like organic hits are well over a decade ago. Um, but Chris Martin has managed to like collab his way into like additional billion streaming songs.
Yeah, you have mentioned this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so like this is a very, he has collaborated with BTS. It's
And
this
everybody,
weird
right?
just
He's just this thing. We just collaborate. So they did the Coldplay just collaborates with people to like make money. Like we'll bring in Burna Boy, we'll bring in this person. Like whoever
well
gets
no yeah
streams, they'll just like bring people in. Yeah, yeah.
no
Right, right.
exactly, which is this kind of like a modern streaming economy lowest common denominator system where you can sort of, and this is again in some ways I think an indication of the strength relative strength of the record industry qua record industry is that it they can like force
Yeah, right, right,
groups into continued popularity.
right, 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 right,
But it
right.
is bizarre to think about this as like, to what extent could this reflect his own personal taste? Maybe he just loves the Muppets.
Listen, no, no, here's the thing. Who doesn't love the Muppets, all right? But like
Yeah, I love the
it's
Muppets.
2026. Like, why are we like, is this what's representing American culture? And that's why I was screaming at the television, like, American culture's dead. Like, what is happening? Like, we have like time has stopped. Like, what is happening? You know, it's like, but you did make a good point, and I'll continue up here, but you did make the good point here if you want to continue to expand on it, that this is also like a very like uh cliched European interpretation of like this is America. They have Madonna and the Muppets. And I do give that a little bit of like lip service.
Okay, but check this out. According to an incredibly
No, no.
cursory search, Disney is thinking about making a new Muppets movie.
Okay, now here, do another Chris research. Has Chris Martin collaborated with the Muppets? Is this contractually obligated?
Maybe
Okay, well, you look
Martin.
that up. I'll look it up. I will say, okay, so then there's a moment where in everything in this, please don't tell. Did they have a feature with Muppets?
I don't think so.
Okay, okay,
Not that I
yeah,
can see.
okay.
Not
So
yet. Not yet. It's
yeah,
there. So
so
there
so
was
I
a
will
2026 Muppets thing with Sabrina Carpenter. Um,
whatever. Maybe they're trying to bring him back. Whatever. It's just insane to me. Anyways, so like, but like to like wrap it up, to get
no,
you
no, no,
going,
no.
like a
Hold on,
little.
hold on,
Okay,
hold on. There's more.
okay, yeah.
There's more. There. I know. So then the Muppets play, and this is
Hmm.
another fascinating thing. The Muppets play Seven Nation Army,
Right. That's right. Yeah, they do. Which means
right?
that.
Hey, yeah, I was thinking about that. So there's a couple questions here. So one, Seven Nation Army is a fascinating choice because it is the most successful rock riff of the last 30 years, easily. It may be it may be the most successful rock riff of all time, in that, like, if a global civilizational collapse occurred, I would put like even money on Seven Nation Army surviving as like a folk memory, because millions of people chant it at football games, right?
Right, right, right,
It's
right.
a crowd chant,
Or like any kind of game, really.
or
Yeah, like
any
any
kind
kind
of
of
game,
sports game.
right?
Yeah, you hear
So
it at every sports game you go to. You can go to like a Kansas City Royals game on a Tuesday night. You're gonna hear it. Right, right, right.
yeah, I mean, I remember hearing it for like, they used it to sing to Jeremy Corbyn.
Okay, great, whatever.
No, no, no. Wait, wait.
Yeah,
But this is like an American, one of maybe the only real American addition to football, global football culture, is Seven Nation Army, like the only
interesting.
real
Okay,
one. And so they
right.
are playing Seven Nation Army. Now, your question that you gestured to is, what is the payout structure like? I believe that because this is sync, they had to clear it with the publishers of, I don't think this is blanket BMI live performance. I think that this is because it's
Right.
going
Okay.
video, and it's going to be repackaged. It is sync, and so that they did have to pay additional money in order to use that song to Jack White.
Okay. All right. All right. Interesting.
And then there's
Okay.
Shakira and Burna Boy, which is like what?
Well, which is like okay. For one thing, like Shakira has appeared on to perform, and I don't know like when she's performing, but like has performed at something like five World Cups, which is crazy because like which is crazy. So like whatever, she's become like this.
All the songs are Shakira songs. Wait, like, it was like Shakira and Neo in South Africa for Wave Your Flag, uh,
Yeah,
which is my personal favorite World Cup anthem.
I think our yeah yeah. Oh, okay, good to know. Yeah, you went through them, but like so like okay, that's fine. We all love Shakira, and everybody loves Shakira, right? And I will
Everyone
say
loves
there's a
Shakira.
little there's an interesting thing here too. Also for those who read the rags. Shakira was married
Rags.
to the listen. she was married to a Spanish soccer player who she's now divorced from. So there was a little intrigue. He's not on the team. He's like he I think he might be retired or he's like not he's aging out of the sport. But like yeah, so there is a little intrigue here that Spain was in the final. She's performing, there was probably a little like, man, you know what? And he might have even been in the stands. I don't know. Anyways, so that little chunk of like Burna Boy and Shakira, which once again so going back to Ronaldinho and Ronaldo, it's just Burna Boy kind of like standing like, "What's up, Shakira?" Like they're not really doing anything. Like
I
Shakira
believe
has dancers.
technically that's called a Shakira. Uh, that's the name of when you just kind of stand near Shakira and say "What up, Shakira." That is one Shakira.
Got you. Okay, yeah. Like and even those dancers and everything she's dancing with, Burna Boy's just like being cool.
He looked
Um,
cool. He looked
he
really
is
cool.
cool.
He is
Yeah,
cool.
but like that little slip, I was like, okay, why don't we just have this? Oh my God. Oh my God. Wait. We totally bypassed the fucking Christian hymnal love song by Justin Bieber.
Oh my god, we
Wait,
did.
wait, wait,
We
wait, wait, wait.
did.
What? Wait. Stop. What the fuck? Like, like, I guess it's a love song. I don't know. Is he going back into Christian? Like, I'm like, I'm speechless. What I assume was happening, it was like one of those things where like it's a love song, but it's using religious like language. That's kind of like a coded like Jesus song, but I'm also in love with you kind of vibe. But then he changed. He did
It
this.
was
Did you hear that he had this lyric at the end that was
World
like
Cup
the
Hallelujah.
World Cup? How
I would it was okay, so like Justin Bieber again, right? But again, this is like it felt to me, yeah, Justin Bieber's an insane choice for this too. So he got look, he's
and last minute shoehorned in, which is crazy.
so
But it makes sense what like his whole thing. Okay.
artistic
Right.
comeback lately, right? Two albums that are critically reviewed, well reviewed. He had a viral Coachella performance that people really loved. We've
Okay.
decided that he's our current like version of George Michael, and that's fine. Um,
But Christian
but Christian, yeah,
and like well, I mean George Michael was Christian, but like and completely hetero or what?
yeah, I don't know, but I'm just saying, I don't know, I don't deem to look into another man's soul.
No, I
Uh,
mean, okay, oh, okay.
I
Well,
just meant like
presenting at least. Yeah.
no, I just meant like the like the white soul singer of the moment. America
Got you. There you
tends
go.
to
Okay,
have one, right? We
right,
had
right.
Justin Timberlake
Mayor
for a long
Hawthorne.
time.
Just kidding.
We had Justin Timberlake for a long time. We had
Right.
George Michael. We had Daryl Hall and John Oates. Like America has a slot for
Yes.
one
Mike,
white male
Michael
soul
McDonald.
singer.
Can we throw him in there?
We
Is that just-
sure do. I
Okay.
mean,
Yes.
you don't want any doobie in your funk, but like the fact that he got mentioned in the Mothership Connection is like that's the bucket list right there. Like
All
you had
right.
an
Word.
at
Word.
you caught a stray from George Clinton in his masterwork. Perfect. Yeah, you
Take it.
count.
Take it. Yeah.
Right. So that, but then like shoehorned in, the only good moment of performance at the very beginning is like when he was playing his acoustic guitar and he's actually playing it, and it's a little quiet and a little weird, and he's like digs in, he's like, gotta make this performance good because, because it's just me and an acoustic guitar. And he can really
Which
sing.
no, yeah, I mean, I think first of all, I think he's kind of done the R&B white R&B singer thing for like a while.
No, I know, but like he's
But
ascended.
yeah, all right. But like I think he's kind of always I think he's just always dropping albums that people are liking him. Also, like, wait. Here's the thing. I'm sorry. Actually his you're talking about like the weird the album that came out that sounded was like more acoustic.
I'm talking about the two ones that he did with like the Dijon McGee
Yeah, I
camp.
listened to one of those, and like I think you were the one texting me saying it was pretty good, and I was like, it sounds like Jack Johnson to me. But anyway, it's like anyway.
His thing, Jack Johnson. I have never seen. I saw Jack Johnson live once at Bonnaroo.
Man.
I have never seen, with the sole exception of Chronics, when it just seemed like Chronics might blow up, which he never quite did. I've never seen a performer who did it for the ladies like Jack Johnson did it for the ladies. That audience was at, I saw him at Bonnaroo. Same, it's one Bonnaroo. I went to one Bonnaroo.
which, which is an important caveat. We're talking about this.
Yeah. I went to one Bonnaroo and I was like, I'm
Yeah.
never doing that again. But I saw a lot of people and you got these different crowds. And Jack Johnson was just a crowd of women who loved Jack Johnson. So yeah, maybe he's Jack Johnson, and maybe that's not such a bad thing.
Whatever. I'm saying the album sounded like it. Obviously, like Bieber's a crooner and like does it for the women well, whatever, or Jesus or whatever. It's like it's all erotic, and we don't need to get
It's
into that.
all
So
erotic. No, but you're
it's
right because
all
that it started off kind of like a love song, and then he just starts talking about this hallelujah, that hallelujah, and it's like very Christian, and
yeah.
not like cool Marvin Gaye singing the national anthem, take him to church Christian, like
Just
like
lyrically,
lyrically like mega church, yeah.
bro. I was having flashbacks. Let me tell you about that. Like, I was like, "Whoa, this feels exactly like the shit I went to at Saddleback College." I'm sorry, Saddleback College, Saddleback Church when I was taken
I don't
there.
even. You
Yeah.
never told me about that. It's well,
Oh yeah, yeah. Rick Warren baptized me, man.
you got baptized.
But Rick Warren,
Whoa.
yeah, purpose-driven life, baby. Yeah, it was like it was a little mass baptism, where like you get in, like the next person, like hundreds of people and stuff. Yeah, and like a man-made pool that looked like it was like I don't know, like a jacuzzi at like a three-star hotel. But but yeah, anyways, yeah, that happened. The Bieber happened, and like oh,
We're at a
I will give
three-star hotel.
I will give Bieber like the credit. Like, okay, I mean, like he's a professional. He's been doing this all his life, right? But
Wait, you
yeah, to just go
forgot.
up there with like no backtrack or anything and just get up there and like play and like pull it off like that. I mean, you expect it, but it's still impressive. I mean, like so. Yeah, give him that.
Well,
And
he got to do it though because he was given a pep talk by Ted Lasso in a moment of this
oh,
that
fuck that too.
it was
God, dude.
it was so dense with bullshit. It was like it was like it was the wasteland, dude, except all of the references were it was the wasteland except all of the references were to the wackest shit or most aged stuff that you could imagine. It,
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
but it was like it was so okay. So Justin Bieber blesses the World Cup Hallelujah, which is if I have my way, the name of this episode. then
Sure.
then sorry, Jason Sudeikis in his guise of
Oh my
Tristram
God.
Shandy. No, in his
Yeah.
guise of what's the guy's name? Coach McGuffin, whatever his name
I
is.
don't watch the show.
Yeah, that coach guy, Coach McGuffin. He says like, "You could do it, kid. This is your big shot." He goes out and sings. Then they've
By the
got
way, at that point, I'll just like throw my dad under the bus. And my dad's like, "Do you ever watch Ted Lasso?" I'm like, "No." And he's like, "I think you would love it." I'm like, "Dad, do you even know who I am?" What makes you think I would like that show?
it.
No offense to
It's
people who like Ted Lasso.
I mean, no, like a little. I mean, I've seen some of it. It's a very, very sickly sweet show, and
What?
it's okay. So then he goes on. Then we switch quick. Shakira, and Burna Boy,
Which was great.
which was
I
great,
mean, like,
which was fine.
it was like fine. Yeah, it was just like it was like you know what it was? It was a nice reprieve from the enormous amount of like high fructose corn syrup that was like dumped over our head for the 20 minutes before that. It was like, okay, like Shakira's dope, Burna Boy's cool. This song sounds like like that was what it was. It was like reprieve. It's like somebody gave us a towel to wipe off the high fructose corn syrup. And then fuck had it. Oh, and then Stalinism. We get all the children who can't sing, who are just not professional children singers, just children
bad. No,
singing
subpar. They
subpar
were
children
worse. They
singing.
like found. I was thinking about this. They had to have gone and been like, find kids, but make sure none of them can sing a lick.
Make sure they're diverse. Make sure they're smiley. Like this is just straight. This is just
No, no, no.
Stalinism.
But
That's all it was.
they 100%
I stole that from
kicked
my friend
out
Matt though. He texted
kids,
me that. Amazing. Yeah.
kicked out kids for singing too well.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh wait. But also there was also the crazy thing where they did like a on the screen. They did like I think it was the start, the whole show. They had a video of Pele, who also has just been like co-opted, I guess, partly like at one point under his approval, and now is just like this like representative of like international soccer. They had
Yeah.
like a video from him from like the 70s being like, love, it's all about love and like all this stuff, which is just felt like it's all this like shroud, like this super fake like simulacrum of like love and unity that like no one is convinced of. Like no one is convinced of.
Like the
Like
world is
like
on fire.
but also just like 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 this concept of like soccer uniting people and that FIFA is like this like glue that like or this like that comes together and like puts all the pieces together and like is the one that creates this. It's like no one believes that. Like no one's buying that like at all. Like and this is nothing about the performance. I don't think any of the, I think the performers had like the performers themselves minus the kids during the Stalinist part like believed any of it either. You know, like
No,
nobody believed it. Like,
no, and oh, there was the kids were singing, and then there was also vuvuzelas
right? Because that was like
from South
I think
Africa.
yeah, that was like a big part of like the history of like the world. Like yeah, it's just, it was okay.
And then there
So
was the EDM part, which I felt I don't know if that was David Guetta, but like it felt like him.
yeah,
Like there was
I
like
mean,
a pulsing EDM thing that didn't quite drop. I
so
know
make you
that
kind of like jump up and down.
he was part of the like official world class anthem. So like there's also
World
like
Cup.
what like a world class. It's not a world class. So a region. So what happened also? I've been following because I love a good world. There's some I kind of I've had this weird interest in them ever since the South African one because Wave Your Flag has been by Neo and Shakira has been stuck in my
Right.
head ever since.
For literally 26 years. Yeah.
Something like that. Um, it wasn't 2000. The South
No, you're
African
right.
World
Yeah,
Cup.
no.
But so the first song, so they made
Wait,
a
can I
South.
interrupt? Was that the same year that R. Kelly did like it is. R. Kelly had the Signs of a Victory, which was like the like introductory song. Wow, man, FIFA's just
They
each
just got
year just
they're comfortable
killing
with
it.
these kind of no. So what happened this year is the first track was this like song by Jelly Roll that sounded like AI country.
But are
That
you talking
was
about like the first song, like the
the first
opening?
song, which people thought
Yeah,
was gonna be the people. So okay, there's two ways I've done a little research. It was reported as this is the World Cup anthem, which I guess is the thing that they have.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it was received so poorly that it was completely dropped and pushed aside because he was basically like, "My heart is as heavy as a busted down Chevy" or something like that. It was really Christian. It was really weird. It was really bad. Um, and they like pushed it aside. So I do wonder how much of all of this cultural thing is like them just sort of being like, oh, I guess we're
That
doing
feels
it.
like FIFA. I mean, like but it's interesting that you say that because actually, like that seems like FIFA in anything it does. It's like their decision making process is opaque, which like people complain about, which I'm also kind of like, well, I don't know, it's like a private organization. I don't know, it like makes sense to me as much as it sucks. But like one of the big controversies is like the reversal of the red card of this like US player. And like the big complaint by like a lot of the Europe, like UEFA, which is the European kind of like board of, I don't know how to explain it, like the association that runs European football.
Yeah.
Like, they had like a statement complaining about it. All the European journalists, the Guardian, stuff like that, were all complaining about it. It's atrocities, like scandal, whatever. And like the
First
thing is
scandal in
like,
FIFA history.
yeah, oh yeah, never, right. And like, where is Sepp Blatter today? But 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 the thing is like, this is kind of how they always operate. They're just like, well, we'll just fucking figure it out and like do what we want. Like, what, before the tournament, uh Christian Ronaldo in Portugal had like
Oh
a
yeah,
like got
had
like a
the
got
red
got like a
cards.
red card, and then they just reversed it or whatever. So they just do whatever the fuck they want. But it does always feel haphazard, where like this idea that like, hey, I guess like as like a viewer or participant in these things, as a fan, you have like a certain level of like expectations of like how things are run, like the game itself, how long halftime is, what happens when you get a red card, and like they are just constantly kind of like undermining that on a whim, right? And so it would make sense to me that they would be like, this is the like World Cup anthem, and then reverse it, and then just like let's, because that was terrible. Just like doing things like kind of on the fly. And I guess this is
Yeah.
where like sort of the OPAC, like the OPAC, the Freudian slip. Aramco was the number one sponsor of the World Cup,
Where's the next World
but
Cup?
oh, dude, put that pin on that. Okay, hold on. But like, um, yeah, but then the point being is that they're just constantly like, this is where the opaque about the decision making process maybe is where the complaint about it being so opaque comes in, where it's just like they just change things and they just do things as they want. And I mean, like, I don't. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like I have like, without getting into the sports of it, because that's not what this podcast is about. But like, when it comes to like something like entertainment, like of like a major sporting event in which like billions of people might be watching, and then you come up with this like fucking mishmash patchwork bullshit,
Yeah.
it doesn't work, right? Like,
No,
reversing a red card is one thing, like, but like doing this shit, it's like, this is just terrible. Like, what is this?
and no, and yeah, so it ends with these like non-singing. I just kept thinking about there's Quincy
I mean, if
Jones
Pink Floyd
once
can
was
get singing
asked
children, sorry.
what Quincy Jones was asked what like he thought of the Beatles, and he called them no playing motherfuckers. And that's just I don't know why. Like the whole time I was watching those kids, I'm like, these are some no singing motherfuckers. It's crazy. Like little kids can sing. There's centuries of little kids singing. Those kids were off like bad. And then there was David Guetta, and then there was that, and then there was this big swirling world thing. I was like, oh, Coldplay. I was like, the baleful influence of Coldplay is here. I don't know what it was about like the
Oh yeah, this is what we were getting to. The whole point is that you didn't know while watching this, and you were live texting me that like you're watching a rerun of the halftime show, and at the very end, you're like, "Is this some Coldplay shit?" In which I wrote to you, "Yes, Chris Martin produced it," and you said, "I had no idea." Holy fuck! Like,
it was just the way that it
you
was the
called it. You called it.
it
You
was
just
it was
saw it.
it was like this, and this I think is actually a fascinating moment, right? The world is watching this thing pretty much actually. And so what you have is people waving flags. But instead of waving flags that have anything to do with the actual history of the participants of the World Cup, of anyone, any country, of any actual place that might have an actual tradition, which might then have an actual politics or meaning. Instead, you've got a bunch of people waving vague, made up flags, like of different colors. And those flags represent all the people all across the world, but they don't really, because they're made up flags, because in an event that like has enough different flags in it, you had to make up your own. And that's when I was like, is this Coldplay?
Okay, but what about what knowledge do you have? What behind the scenes intuition is operating that gets you a main line into the world vision of Chris Martin for you to be able to recognize that as Coldplay. Like, what is it? Like, because you were just like, this is Coldplay aesthetic. This is Chris Martin. And I was just like, how? I mean, like, it's all, cause, I mean, but you also, you pay more attention to them. Or, I mean, I don't want to overstate it. You don't get updates on your phone every time Chris
No.
Martin tweets or anything. Yeah, but like, does he? He's probably not on. Yeah, you know, I think this is really off topic, but like, it makes you rethink like Gwyneth Paltrow as a person. I think she gets a lot of flack, the Goop thing and everything. But now I'm like, yeah, I mean, you should have left this guy.
So
Like,
yeah, I so
you
the
actually do have taste.
it was the it was the flags. They looked like
What is that
no
come
no
from? No, because here's the thing, because Coldplay had this thing where it's not like a rainbow, but it's like this like mishmash of like pastel colors that they were doing for a
yes
while. You know what it
yes
was? It was like co-opting. Oh, this is really terrible. What's that celebration that they have in like India where everybody like throws this sort of like
Diwali
powder, Diwali, yeah, the powder, right? And everything. It was like a sort of like co-opted like Eurofied version of like Diwali aesthetic.
yeah yeah
And
it
they
was
got
there
really
was
into that for a while.
it was like yeah, it was like they had this like spheres thing and they like did yeah I don't know it was the same pastels and it was like I was like this is Coldplay and
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if I've ever been
Impressive.
more right.
Impressive. Okay, so
Depressing, but so
we started off on this episode planning on giving you a like mishmash sort of overview history of music and sports, which is pretty impossible. We've now spent nearly an hour on how terrible this halftime show was, which I think is fine. And I approve. I don't care. And if it's okay with you, I think the next move here is instead of just doing another hour on history now, I think we should just spend 10 minutes and be like, how did we get, I don't know, how did we get here? Or like, what is like, why? Yeah,
yeah,
how did we
I
get here? But
think
not like, how did we get here from like 100 years ago from like marching bands at a baseball game? Like, I mean, like, how did we get here? Like,
which, ladies and gentlemen, I was
is this
prepped to
Obama's
tell you
fault?
about. I was prepped to tell you about the marching bands, the baseball game,
Which,
baby.
which are sick. Which are sick. We should do that episode. We'll still do it. Which is sick. There's like one thing I really want. I mean, like there's one really great thing which I'll preview because we're not going to do it right now because it'd take a whole other hour. But we should do it. The one thing I'll preview is that the Boston team pre-Boston Red Sox co-opting a song from I believe a vaudeville tune, and then reworking the lyrics to talk shit on Honus Wagner during a World Series was awesome. And that's your preview. Very awesome. Honus Wagner, the famous baseball player. I was like, hell yeah, that's awesome. Because also soccer fans do that now. They like co-op like famous pop songs in Rio. But we'll get to that. We'll do that in another episode. I don't give a fuck that because there's a lot of cool stuff there. We did our research, but like let's just do like a brief like how did we get here? Like I don't know, like culturally. Like, is this like because the thing is like just some broad strokes, right? Like music and sports, and this will also act maybe as like a sort of proto intro to like a prelude to like the intro of the next episode, right? But like music and sports at this point in our lives in the contemporary culture is inextricable. Like you go to like I said earlier, you go to a Tuesday Chicago White Sox game. There's and like or they're actually doing well this year. Let's go a bad team. My Angels, right? I go to an Angels game. Stadium can fit
My
15,000
angels.
people.
Ugh.
There's like 12,000 people there because they're so terrible, right? You're gonna hear "We Will Rock You." We are going to hear these songs that we've been mentioning. Like the Seven Nation Army. Like it's inextricable to like, and it's like to go to a game now and like not hear music is actually like kind of like you can go to a minor league baseball game. Where you go to like what's it? It was the D League. What's it? The G League now, I think, in the NBA. The sort of like, yeah, like you're gonna hear music, you're gonna see dancers, you see the whole thing. It's like entertainment. Like the music is like so much a part of like sports now, and so and it's like a kind of a wonderful part of sports that like I guess despite not aligned with what FIFA says, right? It's not. It does bring people together, but not in the FIFA way. Maybe it brings people together in the way the hate of FIFA and their terrible halftime shows. But like, but like, but but it does. It brings people together. People sing, they dance, whatever. It's the 7th inning stretch. It's a wonderful American tradition. Blah 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 blah. But like,
Which
how did we
apparently
get this? Like,
fake based on President Taft.
who was the first one to throw out the first pitch of a baseball game? First president to do that.
Huh?
Um, but yeah, like how did we like get to this bloated? Is this just like a FIFA thing? Is this like a Eurovision thing? Is this like is this Obama's fault? Like I meant this as a joke, but like yeah.
No, I
Like what?
I when I was live to my final text to Saxon
Yeah,
was, "This is the world Obama wanted."
we're being shitheads on that one, but yeah, we get the
I
I'm
mean,
sure you get it if you listen to Spot. I mean, maybe. Yeah, yeah, like. I think one thing I'll start off like I mean this is something we've been mentioning, but I think it's become like more and more in my purview like in the last year is like time has just fucking stopped with culture. Like it's like it's just fucking like and one thing and like like we've been talking about or like concerned about is like and then this is maybe also like a nod to some changes that might be happening with this podcast, but like also like maybe like music itself has just become like a little less specifically like I don't say like important because it's like important, but just has like a little bit of less of like a weight in like culture and like and it's like and it also represents the way that everything's all like nichified now and everything, but just like I mean, the changes of like American culture and the sort of dying. I mean, this all that was just all wrapped up in this halftime show, and it just got me like all these things. The sort of this like yeah, the flattening of time, the sort of like the dying of American culture. We're still reaching back like 40, 50 years now. It's like yeah, I don't know. It's very, very bizarre to me.
yeah. I mean, I think that one thing that really struck me in thinking about all this, right, is that music and sports are inextricable, but it feels like they've reacted in such different ways to, I don't know, post modernity, to use another term from the 80s,
Yeah,
right? To whatever
yeah.
starts happening tech, in terms of our media spheres since the 80s, right?
Hmm.
And in that, like, I feel like music has fragmented and dispersed. So there's people are listening to, but people are both listening to more music and I think watching more sports than they ever have before.
100%. Yeah, like the sport. Like I remember. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when ESPN kind of went like 24/7 or like ESPN two. This is what you walk into if you walk into like a restaurant with a bar on like a Wednesday at like 1 p.m. They're showing like professional
I mean,
flag
sports
football.
bars got invented at a point of time. There was like a guy, like
Right.
one guy, and maybe he's bullshitting. He claims, one of the best interviews I've ever read. He claims he invented both the sports bar and the rap.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
He was like the bar wasn't doing well, and
Like the sandwich that comes in like
a
a bad
tortilla.
tortilla. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, right.
because his like someone came in and but their bread was moldy. He was like, just put it in a
And a
tortilla.
tortilla. Right. Interesting. Okay. Well, anyways, I don't go,
But
but
no, but
like
the
yeah,
idea that
like
like you'd have 15 TVs, like that's
yeah,
in the
yeah. It's
70s,
crazy.
80s, right? And so I just
Yeah,
feel like
probably.
they've both, the amount of these things that proliferate through our media spheres are both very different, but I feel like they've gone in different directions in that music is like shattered and fragmented and is the backdrop and an organizing principle. It's like an emotional technology. It shapes and colors, but is like uh uh um and its excess value is thrown into all these little things and it's everywhere, but also increasingly kind of nowhere, right? Like,
Yeah.
as evidenced in some ways by the increasing collapse of criticism, the increasing collapse of like content about music, right? There's less of that, I think, there than there was when I was a kid. I mean, yeah, there's lots of YouTube videos and yeah, there's people talking, but even then there's like versus sports where in some weird way like the empire of sport
More.
all there's more and it's centralized. And if you want to spend all of your time like I wish this is like a really like if there was music podcasts the way they were like I wish you could listen to
No, that's a
like
great. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, I like this point. Yeah, continue. Yeah,
so like and so I just feel like with this interesting thing where like they're both reacting to the same set of circumstances in some ways, but they just go in really different directions. And that like sport has gotten more concentrated and like built out from there, and music is like dispersed and is everywhere
yeah,
and nowhere. And like
yeah. It's crazy. It's great. It's a really great point. Yeah, it does feel like yeah, and it actually like okay. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, so this might come out like kind of dumb, but it does almost feel like the way the sports is organized now is the way that music was organized pre 2008 or something, where it's like there's so many there's like when I made the joke right about like this professional flag football, but there's actually professional flag football. It's like organized professional flag football, right? That like sometimes appears on ESPN2 or ESPN3. There's like street hockey without roller skates. So it's guys running around with a puck and sticks on a rink, but they're like literally just running. It's like, and I'm like, and that is an organized league as well. And I'm like, so the reason why I'm trying to make this connection is like this feels like very underground sports. Like this is, but they're like professionalized in a weird way. And it almost feels like the similarity to when we talk about like underground punk or something like that, where there's like these like circuits that aren't appearing on like the mainstream like Fox Sports, John Boy, ESPN, whatever, aren't talking about this, but they're like happening. And sometimes you actually might even like you might actually be able to watch it on like TV or streaming on YouTube or everything like that. It's really interesting. It's like this, like, but it definitely feels like there's like this very set hierarchy, but it's all sort of like in this like greater like sphere of sports, which is like the way it operates and the sports media is like very understandable.
mhm.
But like it feels like yeah, music is just like kind of like it's become more and more like ambient, like not like obviously the genre, but just kind of like everywhere and in our lives without any kind of like coherent structure or understanding. And the same goes for like the music media as well. Where the music media feels like it's flailing in the same way that we're flailing. We're just like, not this band, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's like and I wonder about some of this is about like centralization, you know, that like a handful of sports still have all this attention on it. Some of this is about the ability to kind of have. I think some of it's got to do with like, I mean, they're very different things, but like labor structure and power and replaceability, right? That you can't make a comp. You can't. Maybe you can. You can have a pushing up from below, like if you have like roller hockey or street hockey or whatever. But like you can't make your own Major League Baseball, right? That then
Yeah, yeah,
competes,
right.
right? And so there is, I think that this in a in a media sphere in which everything's constantly fragmenting. Like I don't know if this is true, but for the sake of argument, imagine that the basic tendency of the internet is fragmentation, right? Everything is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller and more micro, and more targeted, more targeted, more targeted. And occasionally big things come, but really it's going to be very small things. I'm not saying that's true, but for the sake of argument, sports because you can't make your own localized version of the handful of big things, because there's only so many 7'5" guys who can play basketball, right?
Mhm.
um because there's stadiums and you need a stadium, you need that infrastructure, because there's labor, right? Because this is the last bastion of truly well paid unionized workers in the world.
Yeah,
Not
facts. Yeah,
actually, but like kind of.
yeah.
um
Hmm.
that there's that they have still have they have this hold, and then in a world where everything else is kind of disintegrating, people glom onto that in a way that they would have glommed onto other social institutions that have all fragmented, right? That they maybe would have cared about newspapers, that they would have cared about local bands, that they would all these other tendencies that have kind of fallen away, but sports is still there. And because sports is still there the way it was in the 70s, in a way that like bigger than ever, but like in
Yeah,
some
bigger than
ways
ever.
the way it was in the 70s, right? Um and everything else has changed. It can receive some of that energy that might have gone elsewhere at a different time.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting case.
I don't know
And then
if
maybe
that's
like,
right, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, so like, make sure I understand what you're saying. Like, it's almost like it's sort of stabilized, where everything else has become like more like fractured and less understandable. Like I mean, if you take like one thing is like let's say like Chris Martin's looking out and like like he's been tasked with like making this horrible like halftime show, and he's looking out trying to think about like artists that like people can unite around and like understand are like big enough like globally, and like kind of like having like no clue when it comes to like anyone from the last 10
and
years
who and
because of that sort of
Bad
fragmentation,
Bunny's unfortunately just done the Super Bowl.
and probably can't pay him enough, right? Exactly, yeah. And so it's like, yeah, it's like, and so he's looking at it like there really isn't that many options, right? BTS, okay, yeah, maybe,
Yeah,
like,
BTS. Honestly, if you're doing that, BTS, David Guetta, Madonna, Burna Boy, Shakira is not the worst. Like, I guess these are the big bands that like,
right, but like because but the reason why though is because, kind of going to your point, is because of the fact that it is so fractured, as you're saying,
yeah,
right? Where it's like, if we're going to be like, hey, I need to do, I don't know, fucking some event involving famous sports players. It's like, we know who the famous sports players are right now. We know who the ones that are legends. David Beckham is appearing on literally 400 different commercials like during the World Cup. Like, yeah, it's like a little bit more recognizable and understandable. Like Lamine Yamal from Spain, he's the up and coming, he's the next Messi. Messi's the one on the out. Like, you can just like kind of point at, and where like everything else in every other media industry has become more difficult, which is
yes,
kind of funny because I mean,
yes.
you could even bring
That's
this
what's
back.
weird. It's really and
And like, you
partially it's
bring it back to like when we were talking about earlier about the Odyssey, with like the Matt Damon thing. It's like, it's kind of weird that Matt Damon, there's been like criticism about him being like the main role, but it's also like he's a recognizable face that's been around for like 40 years, similar to Tom Cruise appearing at the beginning of this World Cup game,
yeah.
doing some sort of like unity thing. Once again, just a recognizable thing. But like, I mean, I watch less movies and TV, but I don't know, are like the actors like as recognizable? Like, who's like the fucking up? Who's the Tom Cruise of like late 2020s? It becomes, I feel like, probably like a little bit more difficult to like pinpoint that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so that's like in sports, and a big part of that, I think, in this interesting way, which is also about labor and infrastructure, is that the sports teams are
Yeah,
intergenerational, right?
yeah,
As in
100%.
Portugal's still Portugal. It will still be Portugal, right? You don't need a
No,
new.
and there's a seamless like the young guys coming in, the old guys coming out. They play together. Maybe, I mean, there's a very understandable, seamless time, like under like trajectory that's understandable for us. Yeah, yeah, that's
So
true.
I think the thing that I was also thinking about with the sports, like with the I was thinking about this before I saw the time show, and like, the FIFA version of Unity and how bullshit it is. But there is, right, that like the amazing thing about the World Cup, um, I one of the things I miss about living in New York is like the world, like World Cup's not World Cup is clearly more fun in Brooklyn or Queens than it is in most of America because it's just like there are people like you're like, oh, this is the Croatian section. I didn't realize that before, but holy
Right, right,
moly,
right,
look at
right.
all those flags.
Right,
Um,
right.
and so there is this like amazing thing about the World Cup of like there is this like unity through sports, excitement, identity thing that happens. That's real, right?
Right.
And yet this question, the cynical question, right? Like the Adornian take is that this is ersatz, right? This isn't real community. This isn't
No.
what you were just describing, right? The young guys come in, the old guys come out. That's like tradition. That's like
Right.
meaning. That's continuity
Right, right.
over time. That's oral
Hmm.
history. That's a
Sure.
grounded sense of human possibility. And the question is like, does sports actually offer that? Or does sports offer just enough of a taste of that in order to give people something meaningful to hold on to? But like actually, it's mostly this World Cup performance. It's mostly just commodified shilling. And in fact, like people's desire for something real and grounded and rooted is being used as a means to extract money from them and extract labor, but also like the fact that this system can give you a little bit of something is a reason to like stay invested in it. And the
Yeah. Yeah.
second
Okay.
part, right? So like
Hmm.
this is a big messy sloppy thing. Um is like what and I feel like that in American popular culture, music and some of these big commodified art forms have been able to give that experience as well as sports,
Hmm.
right? These are all big ways that commodified forms of community can be created and maintained and
Right.
commercialized. But
Yeah.
like, what does it mean if there are fewer of those? Like, if there's actually change in the way that movies work, right? The death of Hollywood, the death of the cinemas. If
Right,
there's
right.
actually a change in how music is maybe working with, I mean, there's a crop of new stars, but like clearly fewer, right? Shared points of comparison. What does it do to sports? But also, like, what is it like? It's fascinating to still see the 20th century version of commodified mass culture working for sports, kind of and
Right.
whether that trade-off I was describing before is real or good or whatever, right? Regardless, like that basic compact is still functioning, and it just makes me feel the extent to which it's maybe not functioning in all of these other spaces and all these other kind of types of culture.
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes me just sticking with the World Cup though, just to respond, it does make me feel as if like because it's still operating in that like 20th century form, as you were saying, like it like the kind of sports itself already just in and of itself, the sport itself and the following like professional sports teams like does already kind of create this sort of like continuity and like understanding and like it's already all there inherent in the sport. Like we follow the team, we follow LeBron gets older, like somebody comes up, like whatever, we follow that like these organizing bodies like around the sport like the NBA, I guess, or like FIFA, or whatever. Like it's almost like they're trying to like extract more out of sports than what it already offers,
Hmm.
in a sense, where it's like you don't like FIFA doesn't need to shove down our throat
Right.
like unity and continuity and like because we and that's when the I think that's actually you're really zeroing on the point when it becomes like just a sort of like a false representation of it where it's like no we like it's already doing the thing but you suddenly trying to like suck onto this and like force this unity idea and all this like on us. That's when we like are like what like this is like disgusting and weird and like you're almost by doing that exposing the flaws and the sort of like flimsiness of what actually sports offers, which is just sort of like a momentary couple of hours and like maybe a discussion at the bar, like that kind of like brings a couple of people together that wouldn't normally talk about something. Like me one time sitting in a plane next to an Iranian businessman talking about Arsenal for an hour. Like that's not real community, right?
But
But
it's
like, hey,
more
we got
than
to know
nothing.
each other. Yeah, but it's more than nothing, right? But like him and me and the Iranian businessman like understand that it's just like we're just talking sports, we're talking bullshit, right? But now it's like the FIFA and the government bodies and like advertisement and products, and also they're like this is like they're almost like trying to like extract more out of it than it like, and then when it does that, it almost as if like that's when it's the like all the betting stuff as well. It's like that's when all that like the sort of flimsiness and the thinness of sports and creating that sort of continuity and the community like gets almost exposed now,
And
and it
there's
almost kind of like goes
questions for
sour in a way.
so the question is why, right? Like, and this is the classic, like, what is what is up with our rich?
What is up with our fucking rich, dude?
What is
What
up with
what the
our
fuck? That's
fucking
actually
rich?
probably what this entire show is about. Like,
What is up with our rich? And
yeah,
by that I mean like these rich
and not
have
Richie Rich, not our rich, our rich,
our rich.
our rich. Yeah,
Our rich have not Richie Rich. Yeah, he
or
doesn't go
Roddy
by Rich
Rich,
anymore. He goes by R.
our Roddy Rich. No, yeah.
um is that they've got no chill, right? The time
No
horizon
chill.
has gone down to zero. The sense of like, oh, we need to like manufacture like we need to manufacture consent in order to have the consent. Like we need to have, from a Gramscian perspective, like we need to have like a block of people who are aligned with our ideology in order to make this thing work. We need to like build them the Carnegie libraries, and so that like it doesn't just feel like it's all gambling. And like no, that's like not what they're doing at all. So there is a question from a given that it's so, I mean, there's a couple ways to look at it. Maybe like it's so tactically flimsy that like maybe there's a compulsion. Maybe they just look at this and go, it doesn't matter. You you soccer pigs will go to the trough and you'll suck up like you swallowed Qatar, you swallowed Trump's America. It's the World Cup and there is nothing that you will not eat.
Good call on the guitar
There's
thing.
nothing.
Good
There's nothing,
reference. Yeah,
right?
right.
And so there's maybe just it doesn't matter. And but also I think it's probably some of both, because I think that this sense of in a world media sphere that's so fragmented, those points of community of coming together that look like how things used to look are even like everything feels like a fever swamp, except like sports maybe still is kind of sports, which makes it that much more valuable, which makes the rich people, all the rich people, just want it that much more, which means that they want to belong, which means they want their box seats so that they can look over the peasants at the base of Yankee Stadium, even though like those seats aren't for peasants anymore because like it's pretty
Yeah, yeah,
expensive through the
right,
whole thing, right? So
right.
there is
But okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, and maybe so it's not so much like how much can we like suck out of this. It's more like how much can we shove down their throats, really, in a sense that they'll be able to take. And like that's what all this is. It's just like this more of this like this is what we do, and we'll just continue to shove this shit down your throat, and like you'll continue to take it, which is interesting. And like this is once again gets more into the sports of it. But I do think that there is a growing discontent with FIFA that um and some of these governing bodies. And it will be interesting if there in the next decade or so, like, is a kind of alternative development of like a potential rival. There was
well, I
a
mean,
in Europe there was a talk of a super league, which was like which would have been
oh
like a
yeah.
major would undermined like UEFA actually, not FIFA, but like these kind of things like where which it should be interesting to see if there's any kind of like pushback. But then that gets into a whole other like very complicated like the structure of like FIFA and how every nation gets a vote, and so FIFA courts the smaller nations in order to all blah blah blah. So like yeah, but yeah, it is interesting that is like it's like less of like how much can we like get out of it and more like how much can we shove down their throat, because
Both.
it's
I think it's
because of the
both.
captive because of the audience capture, which is like essentially like we know because of maybe what you were talking about earlier, how they're like the way that the contemporary moment is like, and we're all fractured looking at our own niche, like algorithmic like feeds. What do we all unite against? We don't unite against or unite against we don't unite together uh over the Bruce Springsteen concert anymore, but we all will be watching the World Cup
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's like we know people are going to be watching the NBA finals. It's like one place where like it's a sure bet that like people are going to gather around this.
And
Yeah,
care in a certain way, in an
yeah, and care,
older
right?
way.
Yeah,
I
I mean, like I'll admit, to watch this, I subscribe to Fox One, which is $20 a month, just to watch the games. Of course, I immediately, like literally the hour after the game ended, I like cancel my subscription, right? But like I ate Fox Network shit between every hydration break and every fucking like halftime in order to watch the game. And they got like whatever $40 out of me, but whatever, times billions of people that are doing that, like whatever. Yeah, yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
so
I mean,
I
I'm also
wonder.
to be fair, a big sports fan, so like whatever. Yeah, but
Yeah, yeah. So quick two questions because it's not about sports, but about
yeah.
capitalism. It's all related. Um, because I do think what you're saying about like taking what you said and thinking about like, could there be a thing that would break this continuity that we're positing, right? Between 20th century forms of being and 21st century forms of community in contemporary sports. My question is
Yeah.
like, I can think of two off, and feel free to go either way with this, right? One is like, without getting into the red card thing, it didn't, the Trump red card revision thing, it didn't matter ultimately because the US got blown out of the water, right?
Uh,
But like, what do you think would have happened in international football if like the US wins that match and then makes it to the quarterfinals, right? They lost in the round of 16. If like
yeah.
if it materially impacted the World Cup,
Yeah, yeah. So
like what kind of like do you think that people might start being
no,
like,
so this is no, no, so I want to answer the question that you said earlier about is there a possibility for this sort of continuity to sort of like break up? Like I want to answer that, but first I'll answer the question that you just asked, which is like I think that like you are right. People will eat shit, and the Belgium FA Football Association, the Belgium I don't know if it's called Belgium FA, it's probably called something else in French, association, whatever, but like um came out with a statement before the game. UEFA, which is like the an organizing body of like Europe, like also came out with a statement of the game. Basically protesting all of this, right? Um, but Belgium's not going to like protest and not play the game, you know? Or like let's say Belgium loses and then the US go on to play like another European team. I think we would have played Spain. Yeah, we would play Spain. Like the Spanish people are going to like in protest not play because it's the World Cup.
but I
And
guess
this goes back to the
what
Qatar thing.
about
This
the
goes back to the
next
Qatar
World
thing.
Cup though?
This sorry,
If oh,
this
sorry.
goes back to the Qatar. This goes to the Qatar thing where it's like you have slave labor building, like you have slave labor building these stadiums, people dying, and like their only federation, and I might be fact checked on this, but the only federation that was legitimately considering not sending their team was the German team, and they still went. And it's like, so it's like, so it is. It's like this weird thing where it's like you are. It's like this, like and if anything, this goes on. This just in and of itself proves FIFA can do whatever the fuck they want. And until you have like a major team, Brazil, Germany, France, go, you know what? Fuck you. We're not going to the World Cup. Then you got some fucking problems. But like, are they ever going to do that? No, because also there's like this complicated thing about like, do they owe it to the French people? Whatever, blah, blah. But like,
I wonder
going back
about
to
the
what you're saying,
gambling. I wonder about the
the
gambling
gambling. Well,
is
no.
like
So there is no. You
if
see, yeah,
feel people are like it's all fixed.
yeah, no. This so you are 100% right. Yeah, and that was so that's what I was going to go to next. Not the gambling specifically, but like I will say this that just because you mentioned the gambling, the belief in it not being WWE is like you see the cracks already. you know what they're calling the Argentina? They're calling the Argentina because of the VA, a video review. Like they didn't get a yellow card for like three matches in a row. And like I don't know, you watched the game, but like they're like the shithousery, as we call it in soccer, that they were pulling by like just being violent with the other teams and choosing not to play soccer was like evident to all billion viewers, and yet they weren't getting any kind of like reprimand until the final guy got a red card, whatever, deservedly. Okay, so like that is already happening, right? And then on top of you add the money aspect of it. I mean, the gambling aspect. It's already starting to become like it's all fixed, all fixed. You hear this in NBA. NBA's fixed. It's always been fixed. But what I was also going to say is that like, um, really become a sports episode here. The alternative to the PGA that
Yeah,
the Saudi,
live golf.
right, which is already folding. I think it's struggling, right? But the thing is like that in and of itself was a disc. Like now you're asking a unified fan base to divide its attention between two different leagues that don't come to. I mean, I'm really talking about my league here. I don't watch soccer, golf. I don't watch golf, but like I don't think there was any competitions between the two. Right. And like maybe that would have happened in the future. But like you are creating like something like this discontinuation of this continuity in which like you are speaking of. And so I think that like I think that these are all canary in the coal mine. And I think it's you're more read and Marxian than I am, right? Like admittedly. But isn't this kind of thing how like capitalism eats itself, kind of destroys itself? It feels like the more money that's being put into this stuff and we can do whatever we want and the constant deregulation and the opaqueness of these decision making processes is actually like they think they can do whatever the fuck they want. But what's happening is like you're getting a fan base that's continually more disgruntled, not believing that any of it's real, and like you're actually getting like full on like organizing bodies, which are just as corrupt and fucked up as well, like UEFA, making public statements against like things that FIFA is doing. And I mean, like to me, not in the next couple of years, not under Trump, not in the next couple of years, but like given the next like 10, 20, 30 years, I wouldn't be surprised if you start to see like a movement away from these governing bodies and a real questioning, and also the fan base and the money as well. I mean, if like enough scandals are eventually going to taint the product and is going to, it's the same thing that happened in like the NFL 10 years ago, where it kind of like started to like viewership started to go down, like advertisers were kind of pulling out a little bit, and then it just this whole remarketing thing, right? To inclusive and like Bad Bunny playing the halftime show, like we're not just for like white racists in the Midwest, like kind of thing, right? So I mean, yeah, I could see. I think it's very a real possibility. It's a real possibility, but I don't think it's gonna be happening anytime soon.
Yeah, and I just wonder like what it does to the overall cultural sphere if and when it happens. Because
Yeah,
I do,
because then where to go?
because there's just so few things we can agree on. You're right. We can't talk about
Yeah, and I mean,
politics. We can't talk
yeah,
about we don't agree. Tom Petty died, and like
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's yeah, it's an interesting question that like we'll have to watch, but um, yeah, but it's funny the irony. Let's close with this. The irony is I've always I don't watch TV, and it's like a thing that people. I only watch sports on TV, and it's a thing that like people over the years have accused me of being like a snob because I don't watch TV, and it's like I don't. There's reasons why I don't watch television shows. I know there's there's good television shows, smart, dumb, smart, whatever we were talking about earlier. Like I know that, right? But when I try to defend myself for sports, I go, sports is my reality television. Nobody knows what the fuck's gonna happen, right? And like it's a real reality television show, right? And the fucking irony coming out of this conversation is that like reality TV, which is actually somewhat scripted and actually somewhat planned, and the producers know what happened, is sports now actually becoming more like actual reality television?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And do we
Okay,
need
we
to believe, at some level, right? It's all up for grabs, but you know, some countries have a lot more money than other countries, right?
absolutely.
And so
Yeah,
like there is this funny thing that like in a system structured by inequalities, in a system structured by profit, like the there's something really powerful in the belief that's like, oh, that you can have a scrappy individual effort anything is possible, and that there is like that there's a space outside of capitalism. But like that's never true. Like it's literally never
Yeah.
true. It's all
No.
if you think about the probability, the house always wins, right?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
always, but in the long run, if you've got a huge fan base and a lot of money, you're gonna do better. Except unless you're the
Yeah.
Mets.
Second highest payroll in the league. One of the bottom five records in the entire all of baseball. Cursed team.
Amazing. But
And on that note, we will conclude sports and our first video podcast. Rate and review us, please. And yeah, we'll be catching you guys soon. Bye.